Should I start playing with my homepage and optimizing it for my first keyword target, or should I be creating a new landing page? This is Local SEO Tactics, and this week we have a new type of episode for you. We're going to take a question from one of our listeners. Patrick emailed in with a technical question about how to apply some of the tactics we've been talking about, and that kind of gave us an idea. We've handled questions from a few of you that have emailed into us and kind of communicated privately via email. Patrick's going to be the first one that we kind of put on the air, and we wanted to take that a step further. We want to do a regular Facebook Live event where you can join us. If you have a website or a particular web page that you're having problems with or you have some questions on, we want to handle that on Facebook Live. So if you're interested, if you want to be a part of that, if you want us to take a look at your website, for whatever the reason is, just drop us a line. We're going to ask you to go to intrix.com/live and just let us know if you're interested right there, and we'll get in touch. So without further ado, we'll get into this week's episode here, talking about Patrick's problem, and we hope you all can kind of pull some nuggets out of this. I think it's going to apply to a lot of you out there on some of the decision making you're going to make for what pages to attack and how to apply some stuff here. So here we go. Hey everyone, welcome back to Local SEO Tactics. Jesse Dolan here with Bob Brennan.
Howdy.
As always. Are we ever going to have a third person? Or
We'll get a guest on here one of these days.
One of these days we'll have a guest. If anybody wants to be a guest, let us know. Intrix.com/show.
Exactly.
So we're happy to have you. You just got to make it up here to the frozen tundra.
That's right.
What is the date today here? Recording, it's April 10th?
Yeah.
Is it? I forget what the date is. Still snowing.
The bold north.
The bold north. This is highly unusual. We don't want to scare anybody away. But,
sure.
And they're forecasting through this weekend. So we're going to be past tax day, somewhere April 15th this weekend of more snow.
Sure.
Especially northern Minnesota. They're talking over the next week, like 2 more feet. So that's enough weather talk. If you guys are from the upper Midwest, we always talk about weather anyways. So Sorry to bore the rest of you with the details, but it's darn cold up here and we're sick of it. So back to the show though. So we're going to be talking here today. We got a question from a listener that emailed in. And I think it's a really good question.
Yep.
We've gone through, a dozen or so episodes here talking about a lot of good strategies, a lot of good things that you should do, checklists, tips, guides, how do you do this, that, and the other thing. This guy has a question like, well, where do I do this at? Where should I start? I got all these different options. So I'm going to read his question. There's not one straightforward answer. It kind of depends on the context. We're going to get into that a little bit here, but we'll start with this question. So this is from Patrick, and we've already communicated with Patrick offline here, so he's not just getting his first communication here. He emailed this in a couple weeks ago by the time this airs. But Patrick says, I've been listening to your local SEO podcasts and very much enjoying them. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you very much for all of the helpful information and resources. I'm an entrepreneur, so on and so forth. Basically, he's got a website. It's already been out there for a while, but now he's really getting re-energized after listening to the show, realizing he kind of needs to dig into it and improve some things. So his question is pertaining to his homepage. And he says, I have a simple question. Should I start playing with my homepage and optimizing it for my first keyword target, or should I be creating a new landing page? I assume the answer is a new landing page, and I have started that way, but I don't know if I have ever heard you expressly mention it on your show. If I missed, sorry about that. Let me know what you think. I didn't miss it. We really haven't got into those kind of minutia yet, and it's actually a great question, which is why we saved it and we want to put it on the show. There's not a straightforward answer. It kind of really depends on what's already happening. So the example, Patrick, I already emailed this to you, but for everybody else, I'm going to use as if you're a plumber. Because this is a real life situation we helped one of our customers with already. So it's kind of fresh and easy to speak about. So let's say if you already have in this case, we should set it up too. You have a website, you have your homepage, right? Which of course is the default page on your website. And then you already have some, top menu or main menu pages, whatever you want to refer to them. This would be the products and services that you represent that are going to be found in your navigation menu of your website. Whether it's under a services tab, or if you list them individually, if you're a plumber, water heater, leaks, and things like that. If your homepage is already optimized for this number one keyword, then you're not going to want to mess with it, right? So if you're a plumber And what would you after like 24/7, emergency plumbing is kind of a common thing. If that's what you do, and if that's your main thing, then definitely make sure your homepage is optimized for that.
Yeah.
Regardless of what Patrick doesn't say exactly what he's getting into here, but he says this first keyword. So my first train of thought here would be is this first keyword you're going to attack different than like the overall primary thing that you're going to be focusing on? Or is this like the first new thing, right, that you're going to be going after? If you're a plumber and if your main business that you want to be known for is 24/7 emergency plumbing repair, plumbing service, make sure your homepage speaks to that to the nth degree. You want to let everybody know that's what it is and keep that way. Now, if you want to add, if in Patrick's case, if he wants to be hot water heater repair, if you want to change your business and have that be the number one thing you're known for, then I would definitely attack my homepage for that.
Right.
With that in mind, if you were already getting some kind of ranking and some kind of exposure for the 24/7 and the other stuff for your plumbing in that case, you might jeopardize that a little bit. Your homepage is the most powerful page on your website. I think we've covered it before, but just to make sure everybody's aware, when you're going out to Google or Bing or anything else and you do a search, they're not giving you a website in the results. They're giving you pages.
Yep.
Individual pages on that website. And we've talked before about how to do proper title tags and naming conventions to make those pages stand out. But that's a very important thing to understand. Sometimes, depending on what people are searching for, even if you have a page that's about a certain topic, in this case, 24/7 repair, you're probably going to have a couple pages on your website that talk about the various emergency services you provide. Your homepage is going to be the one, probably more often than not, that Google's going to serve up if that's really what your business is all about. So before you change that, you really got to understand what you're doing, because you may lose some traction in an area you weren't prepared for. You thought, well, I just want to get more focus on water heater repairs. Let's throw all that on the homepage and cut out some of that other stuff. That other stuff maybe was getting you some leads and some rankings that you weren't quite aware of. So before you do that on your homepage, a good thing is run it through our instant SEO audit or some other tool just to kind of get a baseline of where things are at right now. Now, in this case, if you want to go ahead and change that for the water heater repair, go for it. Use the tool, get a similar grade or, try to shoot for that 90% if you're using our tool, intrix.com. Click on the free SEO audit up in the top right corner, yellow button, and pick the keywords and the phrases that are going to be all about, in this case, water heater repair. And then I would go make sure you still have a page for 24/7 plumbing. If that's the case, you don't want to completely abandon that idea, right, if it was giving you some traction before.
Right.
So the other scenario is, no, we are 24/7. That's still what we want to be known for, but I really want to go after hot water heaters. Then you are going to create a new page, as Patrick is saying. Maybe I should just create a landing page. If this is something you're adding on, if this is something you're not getting exposure for that you want to, but it's not something you're going to completely abandon the other stuff in your business and go after, then definitely add it as a new landing page. And with that, don't be afraid of adding multiple landing pages, right? If it's something that's super straightforward and you can't think of, multiple variations of that keyword, or maybe there's like a page 2 and page 3 with more information, then forget it. One page is fine. It's better than nothing. But absolutely, if this is an area, if it's your, as Patrick says, his number one keyword, I take that as very important,
So quick question, hopefully this pertains to it, but is there a right or wrong answer for like the number of pages? Like we dealt with one client that had a lot of pages, like over 300 pages, and another client that had a lesser number.
Yep.
And is there, what are your thoughts on that? Is there two different strategies there? Or?
Yeah, that's a good question. We talked in an earlier episode on a sort of an answer for that as far as how many pages should I have. We should have a page for every product and service, that you offer, right? So, that's kind of the minimum. But as far as, maybe on the other end of that spectrum, having too many pages, there is a concern out there in the search engine optimization world for Google seeing that there's too much, crappy content, really, as on your website, for lack of a better way to phrase it here quick. So if you've got 300 pages out there, if you're only getting traffic and exposure on, maybe 30 of those, 10% of them, then those other 270 pages in this example are just diluting everything else, right? So if you can imagine it more of like a file cabinet, because Google has its Google Index is what it's referred to and what it's called.
Yeah.
You can visualize that as kind of a file cabinet. It's got multiple drawers, and each drawer has got, files, right, with stacks of paper in them. If your website, has 300 files, 300 pages, that are in there, for Google to understand exactly what you're all about versus if it had 30, that's just that much more information to go through and draw conclusions on and things like that. If you're having 300 pages, you're going to be pretty broad and pretty wide in what you're doing. Completely fine. You can have thousands of pages on your website and still rank good. In this case, long answer to your short question, it's kind of more about, are those sticking though, right? Are you getting any traction with them, and are they relevant? So I would try to always pare that down to only, relevant ranking information is really where you're going to want to be on that. Looping that back into Patrick's question, kind of in a sideways. He didn't exactly ask it like this, but just to set it up for anybody else who's maybe on the same train of thought. If you already have a landing page in this case, so just to reset, Patrick, hey, should I go after this top keyword or not on my homepage or a new landing page? Go after a new landing page if you're adding it on. If you already have a page that's kind of talking about that, I would circle back to that first, kind of as a third option here. On my homepage, new landing page, and I would say, what about an existing page that you already have that maybe kind of talking about that topic, or that you want to kind of reframe and spin around? Maybe you're talking about water heaters. Nobody ever really contacts you for them. So I'm going to maybe tweak this page and change it up to be more about, emergency water heater repair in this silly example that we're using. So not a right or wrong for number of pages. Pages need to be relevant. Otherwise they're never going to get out of that file cabinet drawer. Yeah. For Google. So be aware of that. And just like our files at home or at work, if you ain't touched that thing in 12 years, decide if you really need that page anymore. And if not, go ahead and get rid of it. It's not going to be any sweat off your back or any pain to Google or anybody else out there. Put a little asterisk. There's a right and a wrong way to get that content off your website. If you just delete that, if that page was in Google's index, even if it wasn't showing up, if it was in Google's index, that's going to now be a 404 error, page not found. So there's a proper way to do that, to tell Google that I have removed this page instead of just straight away removing it. Just kind of warn everybody. And
I was going to say, so if you're going to slim down your site, so to speak, and all the traffic's on those, let's say 30 pages, and you've got 300 and there's 270 that got to go. Like you said, you just can't delete them. There's a process there. Right?
There is a process there, and maybe that's something, again, if we get some good feedback, we can dive into that later and talk about some examples on that. But yeah, there absolutely is a process, and you just got to let Google know, what's going on, so they don't think that something's wrong with your website. Because if they were expecting these, in this case, 270 pages to still be there and they're not, hey, what's wrong? Is this website compromised? Is something wrong here? Maybe we shouldn't send customers there anymore, and you're going to lose your exposure. So just to kind of recap Patrick's question, if your homepage isn't about the main thing that you do and that you want to be known for, optimize it for that. Don't be bashful. Your homepage is your most important. It's kind of like your storefront or the first impression. Just however you want to reframe it and give an example, your homepage should be about what you do first and foremost. If you want to go after a new product or new service, you can still feature it on your homepage. Put a little blurb in there, put a link to the page, whatever. You don't have to not include it on your homepage. Right. It just maybe isn't the primary thing. And then have a new page about that. If you already have a page that's similar to this topic, you can definitely explore, repurposing that page and kind of tweaking it instead of creating a brand new one from scratch. So that's about it. Kind of again, pretty long answer for Patrick's question there as well. But really wanted to kind of try to take his question and expand out to many different scenarios for everybody else. I think something else I wanted to mention here with Patrick with this question, and I think it can apply to a lot of people. A lot of our audience is going to be business owners or maybe managers that may or may not be doing the actual SEO and website work yourselves. A lot of feedback, which is kind of unexpected. A lot of feedback that we're getting from people is, hey, I don't directly do this stuff, but your podcasts are really helping me understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's kind of Patrick's deal. He didn't, make his website. Somebody else helped him. Sounds like he's taking it over a little bit more, or at least getting more involved. But at least you can see, what's happening, hold other people accountable. I was talking to another customer who he doesn't do anything with his website, but is still digesting our episodes, saying, now I know how to talk to my web guy. I know what to do when I'm on my website and I'm scratching my head saying, I don't know if this is quite right. there's some information to fall back on now.
Right.
You know, doesn't mean everybody's always doing anything wrong. Just because you don't know what's happening doesn't mean, you know, they're doing a bad job. But now you can have some kind of accurate way, you know, to understand that and get you thinking, you know, in Patrick's case here, hey, I got something I want to promote for my business.
You bet.
Now I kind of know how to get after it instead of just telling my web dude, hey, throw this up on my website. You have a little bit of strategy. So
yeah, I mean, if you've got a little bit of gray hair on your head and you've built a few things in your life in terms of craftsmanship, you know, in terms of plumbing or electrical, and you kind of know your way around a house, and you go to build a new house, your contractor is going to look at you differently and deal with you differently as you go into building that house, right? Yep. Because you have some idea how electrical works. You have some idea of, you know, maybe this is the way the code should be, or how drainage works and things like that. So the contractor, I'm not saying contractors are bad, but there are bad ones out there that'll try to pull the wool over your eyes. And just like everything else, if you understand how that's put together, you know, you'll keep them on task a lot better. So that's the goal of this podcast.
It's your website,
right?
You know, it's your company. It's an extension of you. You own it. So absolutely nothing wrong with understanding how things work, even if you're not going to be an expert on it. So hopefully we're helping you guys do that. Again, really appreciate the feedback, the questions.
Like the reviews. The reviews have been great on iTunes. So we really appreciate that.
Absolutely. We love it. It helps us know that we're doing something, not just blowing hot air. We're actually making a difference and helping some people out there. Yeah. So very exciting and motivating for us. So keep the questions coming in. Keep the reviews coming in. We're happy to talk about anything you want, extrapolate on anything we've been talking about, and answer any questions. So one last time, intrix.com/show. Or if you want to leave us a review, go out to iTunes, intrix.com/iTunes, and we'd love to see it. Until then, see you next week.
Have a good night.
All right, everyone. Hope you enjoyed that episode. As always, want to share with you a review this week that we got. This one here is coming from Hannah Place and gives us a great 5-star review saying, "Great info. Thanks for bringing conversation and hacks to this intimidating topic." And I think we've kind of mentioned the same vein before. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to help local business owners, sales managers, entrepreneurs, trying to make waves in their own local markets, not having to be an SEO expert to pull some of this off. Some shows are going to be more advanced, some are going to be more basic, but at the end of the day, we're hoping that everybody out there can just take some of these tips and tricks, apply them to your website, and start to gain exposure in your local market. So thanks for the great review, and you guys out there, if you want to leave us a review, we appreciate that. Helps us know if we're on the right track, if you like what we're doing, and just if it matters to you. So go on out to intrix.com/iTunes. That's intrycks.com/iTunes. And we've added something new this week. We've had some people ask us, how do I leave a review? iTunes isn't the easiest, so you're going to find some instructions on how to do that. Hopefully make it a little bit easier for you. So intrix.com/iTunes, and we'd love to hear from you. And I wanted to throw in one more plug for our product review leads. We've talked about it in previous episodes. If you haven't checked it out yet, go to reviews.intrix.com. It's a great piece of software. It's totally web-based. It's going to allow you to get more reviews from your customers. This will be the easiest process your customers have ever gone through to leave reviews. And that's how you're going to get more customers to leave reviews. It's just going to make it so much easier for them. On your end of the table, you're going to get instant reports when people leave reviews, whether they're good or bad. You're going to be able to instantly share, and I should say automatically share, any good review, 4 or 5-star rating, whatever you want, to social media, to Facebook, to Twitter, things like that to help spread the word. So takes a lot of burden off your shoulders, makes it easier for the customers, makes it easier for you, and getting more reviews obviously helps your SEO for your Google My Business page. So it's just a win-win across the board. Check it out, reviews.intrix.com. And you can check out all the show notes on intrix.com/episode 14. That's episode 14. You'll find a link to Review Lead, a link to the Facebook Live event. You can watch this episode on YouTube and download the full transcript of this. So check it out. Show notes, intrix.com/episode 14.